Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. A few days ago, I mentioned the PayPal Mafia in a video, and some of you in the comment section said that I should talk a little bit more about it. Well, I'm going to show you this right here, this video clip. And I want you to remind you that what David Schwartz said about multiple world reserve currencies. I think David might have told us the plan without telling us the plan. And I think when he said that, he was talking about XRP and XLM. Digital Asset Investor says, I've always wondered if the original PayPal founders funded OpenCoin, which is now Ripple and later Stellar, to fulfill their original vision of creating a world reserve digital asset. And the Everything app is coming to X. Take a listen to this clip right here.
So back in the early days of PayPal, and this is going back to 1999, so it's almost 20 years ago. We actually, our first T-shirt said, PayPal, the new world currency. And so there was this idea that we were going to create this new global currency.
So we have to be very careful about who's controlling the money system here, and what rules and regulations are they going to put on transactions. It seems like PayPal has strayed pretty far from the path of that.
I've been banned from PayPal.
Seems to be moving in the direction of social credit and restricting transactions, so that's concerning. So, and I can do.
So think about it like this: Elon Musk does not like the direction that PayPal is going in, and he's creating the Everything app on X. I think Elon is also working with Ripple and most likely Stellar as well in the background, because I think this was one big plan that was planned out a long time ago. I am curious to see where this goes from here. But let's get back to world reserve currency. One announcement away, everything is set up. Major banks launched the Ripple Global Payments Steering Group in 2016 with XRP behind the GPSG, Global Payments Steering Group. Ripple, Bank of America, Standard Chartered, Santander, Unicredit, Westpac, RBC, Royal Bank, etc. So Ripple, over the last decade, they've been putting payment rails in place all around the world. And now, I think originally, they were looking at XRP as a world's reserve currency. But now that they have RLUSD, I think that could be the world reserve currency. XRP will just be the bridge or the digital asset that moves it around the world at a very cheap price and in a matter of seconds. I think Ripple might have pivoted a little bit because the banks, it's hard to get a bank to agree to crypto. They will open up the door, though, to a stablecoin. Later, they will move that stablecoin utilizing the cryptocurrency. And never forget, just 5 months ago, this article was dropped to let us know that Interledger Protocol will connect 130 countries. Interledger is a Ripple initiative. Interledger Protocol is starting to gain more and more momentum. And even Ripple's ties to the IMF, that's a big deal. Because the IMF, they're connected to so many countries around the world. And the IMF is like the shot caller for most of these countries because they rely on the IMF for money. And then you bring in the BIS, the Bank of All Banks, the Bank of All Central Banks. And you could see how everything is setting up perfectly for XRP to be the world's bridge currency and RLUSD being the world's reserve currency. I think USDC could also be another world's reserve currency, and it will move majorly. It will move a majority of the value over the Stellar network. That's where I see this going. You're going to have Stellar and USDC and XLM. You're going to have Ripple, RLUSD, and XRP. But Brad, I think, was planning this. That's why every time the bank, they need something put in place, Brad always gets it done. It's the same reason that they pivoted towards custody, more towards tokenization, more towards staying focused on cross-border payments. Now AI as well, and the launch of a stablecoin. It's all coming together.
I'll tell you a quick story by background. One of the first banks that Ripple signed, so today we have a product in market that's, we're releasing version 4. When we launched version 1.0, which is always an exciting time for a tech company, you release a product, it's version 1.0. We launched that product, we were partnered with one of the largest banks in the Middle East, and we went to market, and we went live. And we had a call from a very upset Middle Eastern banker saying, wait a minute, people can see my transactions. I don't want people to see my transactions. So look, blockchain is powerful and a public ledger can be leveraged to make transactions, but banks, I mean, if every SCB transaction was written to a public ledger, would SCB be excited about that? The answer is no, I'll tell you very certainly. The nature of how we have evolved our technology, yes, some of it, XRP is a public open ledger. A different part of Ripple's technology that connects banks to the liquidity solutions, these are private, think about it almost as a private temporary blockchain between two banks. It's cryptographically signing the transaction, holding it in escrow and releasing it at the same time, so you never have a situation where a transaction doesn't complete. But the point I would make is, those who espouse this idea of, look, all transactions should be open, I look at that and I think, that is not the real world. We can talk about the origins, particularly around Bitcoin, and to some of the degree other tokens, has been this idea of, hey, we're going to circumvent governments. We don't want the government involved. We're going to circumvent banks. Look, Ripple, we come at it from exactly the opposite point of view. Governments aren't going away. By extension, banks are definitely not going away. We can enable banks to enable an internet of value. If you want to enable an internet of value, you have to connect the repositories of value. The repositories of value are the banks. We want to work with the banks, with financial institutions, with payment providers, with Linlin Pay or PayPal or fill in blank.
And take notice, Brad even said PayPal in that video clip. But what they were trying to do is they're trying to fix the banking system. And while they're fixing the banking system, they're also leveling the playing field. They're connecting the unbanked to the banking system at the same time. But then he talked about the private ledger. And a lot of people always said, the XRP is worth so much more on the private ledger. I don't think that's accurate. I think what you're seeing on the private ledger is testing going on. And that could be where those glitches come from every once in a while. Those glitches end up happening on the exchanges and you're like, holy shit, look at XRP just glitched over 10K. So when XRP comes out of testing phase on the private ledger, the price will be the same on both ledgers because people would just buy it off the exchange and trade it on the private ledger if that was the case. There's nowhere in this world where XRP is worth more than what you're paying for it on the exchanges right now. But I gotta remind you, we're still in the testing phase. And maybe XRP, once it does come out of testing, is gonna hit those high price points that everyone talks about. But I wanted to stay on that subject for a little bit longer than I usually do, because a lot of you keep asking me about the PayPal Mafia. I think everything is connected, and I think we are about to see everything push forward like never before. All of a sudden, we're going to be getting big announcements from all of these banks that have been working with Ripple in the background for years. But I want to remind you that a lot of what you're seeing and a lot of what is talked about is not accurate. There's not a different price on the private ledger. And Brad catered to all the bank's needs along the way. And even that clawback feature, I think that's something that the banks wanted, but you cannot claw back XRP. Forbes article states Wall Street is ready for Ripple and XRP. Wall Street is pushing for Ripple XRP to win a spot exchange traded fund. And the institutions, they're ready to go all in on XRP. NASDAQ is going all in on crypto. Grayscale filed for the first XRP ETF on the New York Stock Exchange yesterday. Certainly feels like to us, there's a mandate from the top saying there's going to be more crypto clarity. You're not bullish enough. That comes from Good Morning Crypto. Take a listen to this.
That often, so I want to pick your brains. This is one of the many things in your portfolio is to make sure the NASDAQ ETF business continues to do well. It seems to me there's two big trends here. One is the cryptocurrency trend. The cryptocurrency ETFs, biggest, I mean, I don't know if it's the most successful launch ever, but 150 billion in assets in 1 year is pretty darn good. You have IBIT, which is the biggest one out there, is lists on NASDAQ, right? The BlackRock ETF. Give us some riff on that, if you will. And then the other trend I see is sort of option-based ETFs in general. But talk about crypto first.
You know, we're still obviously big proponents of the active market, so I think there's still a lot more money in active assets, but more new money going into ETF assets. That's very clear. 2 out of every $3 is moving in that direction. So we just continue to see demand for ETFs being built by NASDAQ. It's not just NASDAQ, though. There's other big providers out there. So I just think we are continuing to see this trend of passive, but you need to have active to marry that so you don't end up being too concentrated just in active. So I think we're in a unique moment in time to say how does active continue to have a role. So you do have moments where a whole sector gets developed around something like digital or crypto, and now potentially having more clarity on the rules of what it actually is going to be.
Do you anticipate?
Take notice he said 2 of every $3 is going into digital assets and ETFs. I believe XRP ETFs launching combined with the lawsuit ending will make the Bitcoin appreciation post ETF launch look like child's play. No digital asset is more coiled than XRP. So after the launch of the first Bitcoin ETF, Bitcoin's price increased by 53.5% over the next 6 months. Now, there's a lot of demand for XRP ETFs. I think if Bitcoin ETFs pulled off an increase of 53.5%, I'm expecting like 500% on XRP's price. That's how much demand there is for this cryptocurrency. And I think a lot of people are ignoring that. Everybody's so focused on the reserve now. Like everything shifted away from the ETF. And what the biggest thing that's going to happen this year is we get crypto regulations, because that's going to change the whole landscape of the crypto space as well. Once regulations come, a lot of money is going to be leaving these meme coins, and it's got to go somewhere. So I would expect a lot of that money to end up in utility-driven cryptocurrencies. Most people I see that invest in meme coins, they're also holding a bag of XRP. So if the memes were to disappear, that's where I expect a lot of that money to end up. Let's get back to the reserve. So they say, we want it. Strategic Bitcoin reserve. Common sense crypto regulations. I didn't know I was in charge of the regulations. Crypto Kangaroo pointed this out earlier to me today. Utility coin proliferation. Bitcoin, 150K. What we got is a digital asset stockpile. Trade wars, 2 presidential meme coins, and Bitcoin under 100K. You cannot have a Bitcoin only reserve. It just does not make sense. And regulations, crypto regulations, are not going to benefit Bitcoin in any way. And they want to crush all utility coins. Think about that. Ask yourself, why would a Bitcoin holder want to stomp out utility-driven cryptocurrencies? I could tell you why. Because XRP is the biggest threat to Bitcoin right now. And when utility enters this space at a high level, the 4-year cycle is over. Bitcoin will never run like it does now ever again. It will change everything. But to want just a Bitcoin reserve, that's just like saying, I want US taxpayers to buy Bitcoin and lock it away and pump my bags. Doesn't benefit the US tax holder or taxpayer. It doesn't benefit all American citizens. It only benefits bag holders. It's happening. Ohio's crypto reserve bill passes on to the next stage, and Indiana applies for its own state reserve. This is happening fast. Now, Bitcoin maxis want you to believe that all these states that are filing for digital asset reserves, that they're going to be holding and stockpiling Bitcoin. I always revert back to the money transmitter license that Ripple obtained all throughout the United States, as well as Elon Musk. I think where this is taking us is digital assets being utilized at state level inside the United States. It's not about buying and holding assets. It's about buying assets that solve a real world problem. This is huge. Retirement funds about to buy Bitcoin. Here's what I don't understand about these retirement funds. Why the hell would they put people's retirement money into Bitcoin? It's not up only, and it has too many problems. Tether just being one major problem for Bitcoin. On top of that, if these cycles end and people's money's tied up in Bitcoin, and we know the crash on Bitcoin's going to happen, the Bitcoin cycle is going to end, it's going to come crashing down 70 to 80%, and it's going to sit there for the next 4 years. Why would you tie people's retirement money to Bitcoin? I don't get the idea behind this. And, you know, are you going to hold it for another 4 years? What if you have a lot of people retire all at once and their money's tied up in Bitcoin that is now sitting at a much cheaper price than what it was bought at? I don't understand this. And if you can understand it better than me, definitely put it in the comment section down below. But what I'm telling you is this. I wanted to talk a little bit about the PayPal Mafia, because I think David Schwartz, when he said there could be multiple world reserve currencies, I think he inadvertently gave up the plan. And maybe that was the plan all along. We got to wait and see where this goes from here. But when that happens, let me tell you, your portfolio is absolutely going to look fabulous. But until it does happen, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.